Gosh, seeing all this food really makes me hungry. Maybe I can cook something. Okay, maybe instead of cooking food, maybe I can play games about food instead. Food. It's something we eat in order to survive, or cook for fun. But there's also food in video games. Food is something used for a power-up, something to heal you with, and more. However, there are a lot of games dedicated to just food in general. Whether it be cooking food, making food, eating food, playing with food. Yeah, that's right, Mom. I'll do what I want with my food. And all sorts of stuff. And we're going to talk about those games today. In honor of American Thanksgiving, let's play Switch games about food. And it can be anything from cooking food to just being centered around edible substances in general. So get your appetite ready for this full course meal of Switch games, and let's begin. Let's start with a small appetizer today. A little bento box. Hi Bento, a puzzle game where you play as a mother cat who is making bentos for their young kid cat. Close, but not quite. It's a short puzzle game where you have to arrange your bento box so it looks like the one on the right, which involves moving the bento around until it looks just perfect. You place them, arrange them, some are locked into place, some are different colors, and all of them look kind of tasty. The art style is absolutely adorable. As you finish a set of puzzles, you see a cute image of the mama cat and kitty just making food together, and it's adorable. But just because the game is cute doesn't mean the puzzles aren't tough. They start out pretty tame, but they can get challenging as you go on. Like seriously, I've spent 10 minutes on some of these. But like any good puzzle game, it's still rewarding. This is a good game you can put down and come back to whenever you want to pass the time, as if you play it too much, your brain could get fried from puzzles. If you want a simple yet challenging game about a Japanese food, iBento is a good fresh start. Next up on the menu is veggies, a very important food group. There's a lot of things you could do with veggies. Stew them, boil them, but in this game, we're gonna blow them up. Kamikaze Veggies. Special thanks to Red Limb Studios for giving me a copy of the Switch version. The game takes place in a post-apocalyptic world, where veggies are the dominant species, and an evil tomato is causing a war on the planet, and it's up to a rebellious group of veggies to save the world from the Tomato Red Menace. The story in this game is ridiculous and parries war movies and tropes. Even has a tough commander vegetable giving you a pep talk before every mission. But the game itself is a stealth puzzle game, where you sneak around levels, moving objects, throwing grenades, and of course, blowing up yourself in front of enemies. You can play as a variety of different characters, including a pea who can jump high, a carrot who has a powerful kamikaze explosion, and this little carrot who has a limited amount of time before they blow up in a small explosion. They're not my favorite. And more. You have a limited amount of veggies to combust, and once you run out of troops, game over. There's a lot of strange things about this game. For example, the scream when your enemies die. But the strangest thing about it is the music. It's this calming symphony as you navigate through the level. Almost something you would hear in Breath of the Wild. Yeah, it's weird, right? I almost expected something fast-paced and action-y and things are gonna blow up. It's not until you are caught by the enemy that the music gets more hectic. That's it. That's the tone I was looking for. The game is silly, but still pretty fun. It's very satisfying to find clever ways to make it through the level without being seen, get rid of enemies, and blow up things, and continue on to the next mission. Does the game have its problems? Yeah, the graphics can be a little glitchy, and the enemies can get stuck. Also, I got stuck. I got caught inside this area and literally couldn't get out without restarting the level. Someone help this poor pea. But for a game about exploding kamikaze veggies, it was a lot better than I thought it would be. If you want to try a game that has a wacky story and some fun stealth platforming, Kamikaze Veggies is a killer recommendation. Let's move on to the main course, and let's talk about a game that involves my favorite food of all time. Pizza! Good pizza, great pizza. A game where you run a pizza place and Well, you make pizzas. You run the new pizza place in town, and customers request a pizza of their favorite topping. You add sauce, add the cheese, pepperoni, sausage, peppers, onions, mushrooms, all the greats. All it needs is chicken parm. Chicken parm pizza is so good. The art style in this game is really charming, as each customer has unique art, and each order is unique, with customers wanting supreme pizzas, pizzas without sauce, vegetarian pizzas, supreme pizzas, or even just fried dough calling it flatbread. There is a bit of a story as well, with a rival pizza chain and a pizza news network that is solely dedicated to pizzas. It's very silly, but in the best way possible. You complete a certain amount of orders per day, and subtracting rent and the money spent on ingredients, you make a profit. Once you get enough money, you can upgrade your shop, adding toppings, upgrading your oven, even making days longer. It can be really fun to grow your pizzeria, and honestly, these pizzas will look really good too. It can get challenging to remember orders, as when more toppings open up to you, they get more complicated. And your time too, as you get more tips based on making the customer happy and making sure they don't have to wait too long. So it can be very fast-paced as well. Despite the challenge, it truly is a cozy game at heart. Probably the coziest on this list, as it's just nice to bake pizzas and enjoy the witty remarks from the customers. Good pizza, great pizza is a good game, great game. Alright, after the main course, I think we should have a little snack. Something quick, something fried, maybe something in a food truck. Cook, Serve, Delicious 3. Ever wanted to run your own food truck? Well, now you can. In a video game, anyway. Cook, Serve, Delicious is a franchise where you cook and serve delicious food. Thank you. Good night, everybody. I guess there's a bit of a story, as the game starts with your previous restaurant from the last game blowing up. Who let the Kamikaze Veggies in here? You are rescued by 2 robots, and now that your restaurant is a pile of rubble, you can now run a food truck. You go around picking items in a menu and cooking them step by step in your food truck, and make it nice and fresh for your hungry customers. The amount of food options you get is astounding. Donuts, pizzas, pretzels, octopi, sushi, margot, all sorts of dishes that you can prepare. And you need to make sure you get it right step by step with button combinations. Get it right, customers are happy. And if you don't, they get angry. And more importantly, you don't get any money. You also have your robot waitresses to help serve your food as you cook it, which is honestly a huge time saver as you're making food. You can just hit the right stick and boom, immediately served. It can get really intense trying to fill all these orders. I actually feel like I'm in a real food truck when it comes to the fast-paced kitchen setting. The harder orders take more time to fill out and prepare, and it can be very easy to just get overwhelmed. But it truly is an amazing challenge once you get into the cooking groove. And if it turns out that's a little bit too much, you can always try a chill mode and relax, and the customers won't even bother. Yeah, that's right, customers. I'll get to it when I get to it. You just stand and wait. You can also decorate your food truck with a bunch of stickers, photos, and all sorts of little touches. The music is one of my favorite things about the game, as it's super upbeat and has a cappella. It kind of reminds me of the soundtrack of Crash Twinsanity. Also, I want to give a special shout out to the voice actors of the robots, Ivana Mahoney and M.A. Montgomery, aka Nega Oryx. 2 streamers who really do a good job of encouraging the player and delivering a great performance. Overall, the game is a fun one to play, fast-paced, and makes me hungry with all the food they have. Cook, Serve, Delicious 3 lives up to its name. Let's move on to the dessert. A meat pie with a special secret ingredient. And that ingredient is not human flesh. Not. Ravenous Devils. Basically Sweeney Todd the video game. And it's as brutal as you think it would be. You play a new couple that enters the town and purchases a new store, with the upper floor being a tailor shop, the main floor being a pie shop, and the basement is this dark and bloody kitchen. You play as both the tailor and cook, and multitask between the 2 of them, trying to bake pies and sell clothes. But yes, you get your meat from literally murdering customers from the tailor, dropping the body down a chute, taking the body and grinding it down into meat, cooking that meat and turning it into pies, and serving it to customers, all while taking the clothes of the recently deceased and making new clothes out of them to sell to even more customers. It's such a devious plan, but it creates one heck of a game. It's really fun to balance out doing all these different tasks and getting more money for the gruesome things that you do, which you can use to buy more recipes, more ingredients, tables where people can be served, faster equipment, and more. It's both fun and kind of terrifying to see your shop profit over essentially cannibalism, but it's a lot of morbid fun. The game is also, as you can imagine, really gruesome. Like literally showing the murders happen in-game and seeing the bodies get grinded into meat level of gruesome. It's such a horrific sight. At least, as much as the Switch graphics will allow, it can get kind of choppy at points. But the artistic style of the game shines, especially in the opening cutscene and the art you see in the game. There is a story to go with this game as well, but it kind of just sort of happens along the way. You don't really interact, or the story doesn't change at all. The main focus is just the game and managing the tailor in the restaurant. And as a horror management style game, it's one of my personal favorites. It has a gruesome style, wonderful gameplay, and worth getting on the Switch. Well, you've had quite a meal of games, haven't you? What's that? Not quite full yet? Well, I think we have some leftovers somewhere. Oh god, I don't know, this one smells sour. Oh no. Cooking Mama Cookstar. Oh god, remember this game? Remember how Cooking Mama Cookstar, a game for young kids, was taken off the eShop and people accused this game of killing your Switch and using it to farm cryptocurrency? Yeah, none of that was true. It's just a mediocre cooking game, but it's still off the eShop to this day, and you can only get it through a physical copy. So I figured it would be a good way to finish off this full course meal of Switch games about food. And I start the game and it's this.
Let's go!
It kind of makes me sick. So this is Cooking Mama, a game where you can perform mini games in order to make food. There is a mini game for every step, and I mean every step of the recipe. Put cheese in the grater? Mini game. Put something in the oven? Mini game. Massaging the meat with your bare, greasy, disgusting hands? You bet that's something you could do with the Joy-Cons. They are all pretty creative and quick, but it feels a bit subpar to something like WarioWare. Still, for a kid, it's entertaining. Cooking Mama herself, however, is a bit strange. I know, she just looks like how she does on the DS games, but the transition to 3D and Switch is kind of terrifying. Her voice is also a little weird. It has charm with her encouraging broken English, but the issue is, she doesn't shut up.
Let's get started. Don't give up. Hurry, time's up. Not bad. Hurry up. Shaking my head. Come on, you can do it. Now you've got it. What in the...
The worst moments with Mama, at least for me, is where she tries to reference a modern saying like, I can't even, or what in the what? It can get annoying really fast, and her saying things is at a near constant. Like, give us a break, Mama. Depending on how well you do in the game, Cooking Mama is happy with hearts in her eyes, or angry with the fires of hell on her very pupils. Which is honestly the funniest thing I've ever seen. She quickly goes back to smiling, supportive Mama, but the rage is burning inside that oven. Once you finish the recipe and make your food, you can decorate your dish and take a picture and post it on social media. Unironically, my favorite part of the whole game. Not because the photos turned out nice, but because I was able to turn these delightful dishes into the abominations you see on screen now, and post them on Twitter to boot. And then that's the game. You keep doing recipe after recipe until you get bored and throw the game away. The game isn't bad per se. There's a lot of good things going on with the game, and the amount of creative recipes it has is pretty cool. It even has some vegetarian recipes too. The game honestly just feels unfinished, and I think that's why it was taken off the eShop in the first place. It just wasn't ready yet. The game has some charm on it, but the voice lines seem repetitive, there aren't too many recipes, and the mini games can get repetitive and dull, and even the food looks more like rubber toys than anything close to being edible. It's a shame, as this game could have been something decent, but it just wasn't in the oven long enough to cook into the dish it could have been, and instead it just got dull and boring. If you're looking for a bunch of fun micro games, a better alternative would be WarioWare. And after that, I am stuffed. I hope you enjoyed this full course meal of Switch games. Are there any other games about food that you like that I didn't mention? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the like button and stay tuned for more videos. Happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you all have some amazing food. And stay away from human flesh meat pies and exploding veggies.